Welcome to Beyond Our Focus. I'm Stefan, this is Amanda, and this is Breaking Prisms for it's not January anymore. February 5th, where we go over the Twilight Zone and Black Mirror. Today is Black Mirror Season 3, Episode 5, almost through the season. Men Against Fire.
Dun, dun, dun.
There may not be a drastic amount of enthusiasm in this particular episode from us. One, we're a little dead. Two, it is probably my least favorite. I would definitely say Amanda's least favorite of the season, for sure.
Yeah.
The next episode's pretty interesting. It's longer. It's pretty much just a movie.
Interesting.
It's just like an hour and 31 minutes. So
I don't know, but remind me in a couple minutes or after the ending. I didn't look up the next Twilight Zone.
Neither did I. I'd have to just jump into Netflix. We'll find it. We'll get there. Why would we prep the show? Why would we prepare things properly?
We're not professional.
Never, not once. So, men against
Men.
Men. We're men. We're manly men. There's a song somewhere in there.
When our show gets flagged for ripping off the 2.5 Men intro. Men. Yeah. Men. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I've seen the show. Okay. I've seen an episode maybe once. So I don't remember its intro.
Anyways, the first note I had was just how, it just pretty much starts out, you just see a woman and a guy sleeping.
Yes. He's dreaming about this girl, and then he is abruptly woken up. Yes. And we immediately find out he's in the military.
Yes.
Very apparent.
And I don't know maybe it was just the vibe it had, maybe it was just how, I don't know, they were dressed compared to the space around it. To me, it just seemed futuristic. Like, I don't know what it was. It didn't scream like normal military. It didn't scream nowadays military. Maybe because it wasn't dirty, but they're all too clean cut. It's just too much.
Yeah, I don't think it really screamed that, but it is definitely in a future that I feel is a lot further along than what it looks.
Yeah. But
it's definitely in the future with some of their fancy iSet, whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah, we don't have that until later. I just meant just the general vibe to me was futuristic, maybe post-apocalyptic kind of thing. Just like the world has moved on.
That did not get that vibe whatsoever.
Okay.
It looked like a military camp to me, but.
And pretty much we learned that there has been an attack on a village.
Oh, there has been an attack. I think it was possibly roaches.
Yeah, I heard that. I was like, say that again. Because it started out with the food being stolen and stuff like that. Or there was an attack. So I was like, okay, there's an attack. And then it was the food reserves and stuff were stolen and everything like that. And then it was, there's roaches.
A handy-dandy term for the creatures here.
And they called it a roach hunt.
Yeah, they like going on their roach hunts. That's very much so. Out in 5, we found out very quickly our fellow that we follow is named Stripe.
Yes.
Or, I didn't write down his actual name because I knew I wouldn't be able to say it.
Stripe Conegan? I can't say it.
Well, I think it's his actual name. I don't think it's him. Anywhere in his name is Stripe. That is his nickname.
No, but it's just like Stripe and then his... Mostly because it's usually a nickname and the last name. Usually you don't learn the first name.
Well, for him, there just isn't a last name because his last name was odd and hard to say, so he got Stripe.
Well, yeah.
Which Stripe is still odd.
Yeah, and the reason why we know his last name, though, is because the one guy started calling him that. He's like, it's Stripe.
I didn't hear him calling that at all.
Oh.
I didn't hear that name until much later into the episode. Didn't hear that at all.
I don't know, because I just remember that when they were sitting there, they were going out, like running to the Jeep.
I heard him get called a newbie.
Oh, maybe that was it. I don't know.
The noob, or whatever they say, but it was referred to newbie because that's why I was going to say he's the new guy. Yeah. It's very obvious he's called a noob or newbie or something along those lines.
Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. I'm still sleeping.
Okay. I'm not positive either.
But anyways, he's Stripe. Then they have Lynn, who is the sarcastic dude, the one that was calling him, I assume, newbie. Yeah.
I didn't catch anyone else's name in this entire show.
And then farm girl. Was
Yep, don't know her name.
Hunter. That was her sign was Hunter.
Her sign was actually her last name, because Hunter could be a name.
Well, no, it's the same as Stripe, Hunter. It was something I ran into later during my research.
Take your word on it, because I did not get a name out of the farm girl.
They just called her Hunter, and then Medina is the leader.
That sounds about right. That sounds right. Everyone's all piling up in the truck, very excited to go kill some roaches.
Yes. They're on their way. I don't think they really introduce anything while they're in that run. I think it's just they get into the vehicle and then they are at the village.
Yes, they go to the village, which we see the fancy little communication device.
That was actually really cool. Which it's a technology that's already being.
Yes, we kind of already we basically already have this.
Yes.
This is already exists to the degree.
It sounded like some form of German.
It was. It popped up in the description.
Oh.
It was. Oh, sweet Lord. I want to say Dutch at the moment. But,
Dutch? Oh, it might be.
I don't remember. I thought I remember.
It's actually something I didn't run into, so.
Well, it only popped up in the subtitles.
Oh.
Saying they were speaking this language.
Oh, okay.
So that's the only reason I even know. Even though I'm not positive I know. Even though I should know, because I didn't take note of it. I don't know. Realized I saw it pop up. I thought it started with a D. That's why I'm saying Dutch.
It could be Dutch. But as I said, like to me, it's like it almost sounded German, and then sometimes it sounded like gibberish. So I didn't know. I was like, maybe it's an alien language. They just pushed a bunch of things together.
Not according to the subtitles.
But
it was an actual real language. But
yes, so they're talking. She's using a little translator thing, and she finds out that not only has the food been stolen, but parts from one of their coolers have been stolen.
Yep.
And also that any food left behind is not going to be touched. It has to be burned and destroyed.
Because no one will eat it.
So that's when I actually started thinking, okay, so these roaches. For some reason, the picture I had in my head was from District 9?
District 9 was a movie.
Yes.
The aliens that came down.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Really cool movie, though.
Yeah, it was a really good movie.
I need to watch that again. I really feel like it's been a long time since I've seen it.
We actually have that one.
I feel like I might have it as well.
But yeah, for some reason, this is the picture that was starting to form in my head. Was they're calling them roaches. Food was stolen. The parts were stolen. I'm like, hey, buggy guys.
So let's see. We get some heads up displays that pop up, or some hologram things that pop up in front of their face about where they're going, what they're doing.
They pretty much were told that they think that they asked them what direction did the roaches head, like which way did they go, and they said Heidecker.
Yes.
And so she gets the intel that Heidecker is this weird, like strange guy everyone stays away from. He's very religious and he has an interesting view on the roaches.
Yes. So that's where they're going to head. Like I said, we get some cool displays that everyone can share, a little hologram in front of their face that you can kind of click on and move and do little things. We've seen stuff like this in other...
Yeah.
I want to say maybe even other episodes, in other futuristic movies. This is something that you come across regularly.
Yes, and it's also... You can tell he is the newbie. And see, that makes more sense now. It's because he was sitting there playing with the hologram thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as though this was, like, his first time using it. And, of course, Hunter had even said this was his first time out on the job.
Mm-hmm. So they get there, and we
see another cool technology.
I want to say, well, they shoot the little thing at the house.
Before they do that, though, Medina uses a sight drone. Like, they don't call it a sight drone, but that's what it reminded me of. Is that the first thing you see is above the house. Like, she tells you how many doors and stuff are, like, how many windows, how many doors, how many exits, everything like that. And you can tell it's coming from her eyes because her eyes are like this yellowish clouded over color. And then after that, she tells Lynn to shoot the boomer. And that gives them the map.
think you're right. I apparently overlooked this. I saw it happen later on in the episode, not here. So, but yes, he shoots the boomer. We get a very detailed layout of this house. Super detailed. And then she points directions and makes things happen on the map. It's a cool little hologram. It looks pretty awesome.
So she pretty much tells everybody where they're going and sends them on their way. And for some reason, the way they moved, the way they were dressed compared to the backdrop, I don't know what it is, but to me, it just was very Star Trooper-ish. Like, I don't know. Yeah. It just reminded me of Star Trooper.
A little more low budget, I guess is the right word for that.
So she knocks on the door, and good old Heidecker kind of peeks out, and she tries to do the translation thing. He's like, I speak your language. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, he's like, I just want to talk. It's like, we're talking. It's like, we'll be more neighborly inside.
To which he opens the door, and then she immediately tells everyone, check upstairs, check the rooms upstairs. Like, that doesn't seem very neighborly.
No.
As soon as you get invited, you start searching the house. It's like,
Yes. So, Hunter and Stripe go upstairs. I think Lynn stays downstairs because he's playing with the bird. Like, he's just staring at... Was that a...
He was fascinated. He looked like a hawk.
Yeah.
He was very fascinated by this hawk.
And so he pretty much stayed there, and Medina had a discussion.
A discussion where we get some explanation of the roaches or what's going on, that they're sick or they have a disease, and it will spread if we don't annihilate them, and it can pass on to their children and breed and blah, 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 blah.
It's just sick. They didn't choose to be this way. It's just in their blood. It's a sickness.
Yes.
And... we also get that she's like, we understand what his religious views is that all things are sacred, so including the roaches and everything like that.
Well, they also claim they were once human.
Yes. And meanwhile, upstairs, of course, they find they're in this closet, and Hunter finds like a hidden door or whatever. So she kicks it down or pushes it open, and she steps in, and she's like, ugh, a roach's nest. And then you get the view of the room, and it literally is just like blankets, like kind of just on the floor, and like pillows and stuff like that. And you're like, when she said ew, this is not the first thing I thought of.
Not at all.
And immediately that's when I was like, I know what's going on. So to me, the plot just happened way too fast.
I didn't try. It's not,
I know.
It's not their fault that you apparently have seen a lot of other plots in this vein. I have not. I've seen the show before, so I can't. And unfortunately, this one was more forgettable than most, so it's not one I retained very well.
But so pretty much, as I said, I just wrote the roach nest looks very normal, and then they're continuing to look around, and as they're looking around, it keeps panning back to Medina, who, while she's talking to Heidecker, he's fiddling with something in his hand. And
fiddle, fiddle, fiddle.
As the tension builds and everything like that, Stripe finds a curtain, so he starts moving towards the curtain, and as he starts moving towards the curtain, Heidecker starts revealing what he has in his hand, and then bam, he has a knife, and bam, the curtain goes down, and bam,
we see 3 roaches that, truthfully, look like vampires. They just look like vampires.
The first thought I had was Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
They look like vampires.
Yeah, it was very just flat-skinned, like big, sharp, shiny teeth, stuff like that. Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, it was very generic.
Monster.
Yeah,
nothing too fancy. So yes, he encounters these home dude, which of course he immediately fires and kills one of them.
Yes.
To which, as soon as the fire happens, Medina gets up a little bit, and home dude attacks her.
Yes, like just slices her arm.
Yes, cuts her arm.
And then she easily just takes him down.
Yes.
So
yes. How, if she's as tough as she's supposed to be, being in the military, she should be able to.
Yes. Hunter tries to go after this woman roach, and she misses, so she keeps following outside, still misses, she was making fun of Lynn earlier for being like the worst shot, and somehow she just...
She did a great job of missing this girl who she was directly behind 14 times.
Yes. Like, literally, the woman didn't even make a zigzag pattern. She just stayed right in front, and Hunter seemed to hit everything alongside her.
Of course, that's every movie ever, but yes. Logically, she was as bad a shot as the Stormtrooper. She couldn't hit anything.
And so then... she's doing that. Meanwhile, Stripe is taking on the... he killed the one, and there was another one, and he's whipping out this green LED device that just goes... Woo!
It's just a little flashy green light. We don't know, okay, why does he keep going after this particular little light?
Yeah, I just put... He's getting... Stripe's getting beat down. Stripe's beating this thing, and then finally he takes out his knife and just...
Yes. He kills this thing and then repeatedly stabs it quite a few times.
First it was stab, then it was stab, and then it was stab.
Stabby, stab. Yes. And then he picks up the little flashy device. And just kind of looks at it, and it flashes into his eyes. And it's like, oh, and there's I think a little ring noise, and...
He just shrugs and drops it. You don't take it as evidence, you just shrug and just throw it on the ground.
To which immediately we are met with a very, very, very familiar song if you paid attention to Black Mirror at all. We've had it in 2 other episodes.
Apparently I missed this completely, guys.
The hunter downstairs is singing it to the guy. Try to shame me, and still I'll care for you. You can run around, even put me down. I'll still be there for you. It's from Season 1, Episode 2, 15 Million Merits. The singing competition?
Oh, okay, yes.
It's the primary song in that. Yeah. And then it popped up, I think, in White Bear as well, on the TV screen. It popped up and they were singing it.
Yes.
So, we've had this song now in the 3rd episode of Black Mirror. In every season, we've had one episode that had this song in it.
I didn't catch that. It's like, I knew she was singing, but for some reason, I wasn't picking up on what she was singing. It was like, because my brain was more focusing on the actress, I wonder if she actually is a singer, just doing the whole
she wasn't bad at all in the episode, but... it's that song again. It was quite interesting. I'm like, that's a nice little callback to stuff we've seen before.
Nice catch. Yeah, I missed that completely. But, yeah, so she's sitting there tormenting the dude, and Stripe comes down covered in blood, and he's like, if you kill him, you've killed a civ, pretty much a civilian, so it's going to haunt you for the rest of your life.
Yes, if you shoot him, if you shoot a civ, it'll haunt you. It'll stay with you.
So she pretty much backs down and looks at him and is like, I was joking, and I was joking with him too. You guys must have both missed it. And then just walks out and just like, okay, chick. Yeah.
To which we get more loud ringing in his ears.
Yes.
He's having some issues now.
So they pretty much...
Then they torch the house.
Yes. Torch the house, torch everything, and they're taking Heidecker with them. And they're like, ew, we don't want to ride back with that roach lover. And Lynn sets the bird free. So everybody, the bird does live. The
bird lives of all things. So that's the one thing we care.
Yeah, the bird lives.
So we immediately cut back into Stripe dreaming of that girl again.
But something's a little different.
His dream kind of glitches a little bit. Glitch.
So it's pretty much like just skipping, and then weird in between visions of some. I don't really know if it clarified.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's just like weird bloody stretching stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Then we go over to the girl or Hunter training. Yeah, she's upset. She missed the shot. She didn't get the girl.
Well, she was a perfect shot at the. Her accuracy was No. And she says something like, "Can you imagine if she makes it to the? She's out there. If she makes it to the border," and I'm like, "The border? What border?" But do you remember that at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Making it to the border.
Yeah.
She'll get away. I don't know what border.
Yes,
I don't know what
know,
country
like,
they're in necessarily.
I don't know necessarily, like, exactly which... I don't know. Sorry. My brain just shut down. I was hearing things. Anyways, yeah, no, it just was weird that she said made it to the border, because I'm thinking, the border of what? Do they have territories? Do they have, like, no-go zones? Like, what's going on?
This is the future.
I guess.
There's literally no telling. To which he goes to do it, and his little eye thing, once again, glitches, because they have a really cool display of showing things, and
yeah.
it was really cool, but it glitches once again.
He's having some issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we go over to them doing PT, basically.
Yeah.
And working out or whatever, doing push-ups. To which he gets the loud ringing in his ear again.
Probably time to seek medical attention, you know? Just...
Yeah, eventually, what's her face?
Yeah. What?
I think it was the main girl, wasn't it? Or was it a different person?
Well, there's Hunter and Medina.
Medina. Tells him he should go see the doc. Or go to the medical bay or whatever.
Yeah. So he pretty much gets a physical exam, and, you know, everything's...
Well, they get physical, and they run a test on the mass implant, which we learned very soon. But still, the thing in his head, the thing is getting all these visuals of this. They run diagnostic on it to make sure it's running fine.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's perfect.
So they're like, maybe you need a psych exam.
Everything looks okay. Nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong with the mass implant. You're fine. But maybe you should speak with... Arquette, yes. Good old Arquette. Which, as far as I can tell, psychologist?
I would like probably like the psychiatrist of them. Like I think everyone... I think pretty much any military, any kind of government thing, pretty much schools, everything, they have some kind of counselor or psychiatrist available. Yeah.
So they chit chat, and that odd chat that they have.
Well, I don't know.
It was a strange little talk.
Do you really think that was something that just randomly comes up in conversation? Like, unless, as I said, I knew the plot thing, so it kind of made sense to me. But that was just me.
Odd talk. You did a big thing. You should be proud. It ends on a positive note, I guess.
Go you! Yes, he pretty much, even though he's encouraged, his behavior's encouraged, everything's like, pat on the back, you did good, son. He's starting to feel really weird about things. Like, things aren't really...
Yeah, so he prescribes good sleep, and he apparently writes him a prescription, or it seems like that's what he was doing. Because he goes back to his desk, and he's like, what you need is a good night's sleep. And he's like, a really good night's sleep. And he's over his desk writing. So I feel like he gave him something to sleep. My personal opinion. Or did something with the mass implant to help him sleep.
That would seem...
Because we go back to him dreaming again. And the dream goes a lot further this time. Because it's no longer just her. It's her, and her.
Well, apparently that's what this mask does for you, is that it ups your senses. All your senses are like 10 times better than they should be regularly, and they give you nice sexual dreams at night. So,
which it still glitches out in the end, and he wakes up like it was a nightmare. To which, of course, I had noticed it earlier, the weird way people slept, but right here is like, oh, this is really weird. Everybody on their back in this odd location. And they kept showing it multiple times throughout the episode, like his fingers moving a little bit. But then when you pan through different people, everyone's fingers is moving in a different way.
Everybody's twitching. Like they showed his eyes moving, they showed his hands moving, they showed pretty much everybody's really interacting into their
very interactive dreams, apparently.
Yeah. Well, it's like you go through all those horrible hunting trips. They got to give you something nice to dream about at night.
So we get back into the morning, and Heidecker, whatever, has given up the location of the roaches.
Yes. So
After some probably apparent torturing, he's given up the location. Some abandoned complex, project housing or whatever.
So, of course, Medina's like, we're going.
Of course they're going.
Stripe's, of course, going with. And so is Hunter. And all the best troops are going.
Of course.
So, they head out. And things start to go downhill really fast.
They do. First, they use the drone thing.
Yes.
Either again or for the first time.
It's
you say again.
It is
you say
again.
You saw it, I didn't.
How did you not see it the first time?
I don't know. Maybe I was writing in my little fancy notes.
Yeah, that's
possible. I'm just saying possible. So they start doing that, and Stripe's thing just glitches out.
Yep.
He can't see through the little drone anymore. His is the only one that does this. And then they're done, like, all right, let's go. To which he starts looking at and sniffing the grass.
Well, as I said, like the mass implant, whatever you want to call it, it's supposed to heighten your senses. So if suddenly something like that glitches out, any of your senses suddenly just go really dim, you're going to notice. So it's like suddenly you can't smell as well, something's up.
That was not what happened at all there. It's not that he couldn't smell. The mass prevented them from smelling on the battlefield. Because he said, I can smell the grass.
Yeah.
We can't usually smell. He said, you ever notice we don't usually smell? So no, I never realized that. Because he was sniffing because he could smell the first time. Usually while they're out there, the mass prevents them from smelling things like blood or anything horrible. It keeps them fine-tuned to what they're supposed to be doing. So it dims their smell usually. And since his mass implant has glitched out, he's actually smelling everything. Because first you hear like a goat or something in the background. And then he goes and he starts sniffing the grass. It's like he can smell. And then like not too long after this, you start hearing, he stops for a second and you hear birds chirping in the background. And it's like he's experiencing the world as we would normally experience it, but not while you're on the mass implant. It dims everything so you stay hyper-focused on what you're supposed to be doing.
It's pretty much tunnel vision. They've got the little side thingies on you pretty much. Yeah,
so, yes, about this point, smelling grass, can you smell? Yep.
So he got distracted.
And then she's like, Commander says something and heads towards him and whoom!
Yes.
Or, well, like, pop him in the eye because that's where it gets her.
Sniper roach.
Yep, so she dead.
No, she's
real
fine.
dead.
She's fine.
She might, no, I don't think so. Don't think so.
Yeah.
So the commander is very dead.
Yes. To which, I don't know why that was. I don't know. I wrote something down, but I think I missed something in between there. Anyways, go ahead.
So, which they use the drone again. They see him. He shoots the drone. Like, well, he has an old bolt action, which means we have time to try to get up closer. It's going to take time to reload the thing. To which they head up towards the apartment complex little area that they're at. That's when we hear the birds and stuff. Yeah. And he stops. And she has getting back in tune. It's like, hey, buddy, I need your backup here. I need some cover.
And then, of course, he starts seeing things a little differently than he should-ish.
Well, they go inside, they find lots of electronics and moving through, and they find the more remote things, and then he goes into a room by himself, to which there's a girl. Just a normal, average girl.
He, of course, is like, dude, we need to get out of here. Like,
you need to get out of here, there's roaches here, we need to get you out of here. To which she is horrified of this man with her bat. So she's very, very, very cautious as she moves around him, and she backs into the hallway to where she just gets shot.
Yeah. Hunter's like, no mercy.
So this is where things start really going haywire.
Yes.
Like severely haywire. Hunter is just, and then we go on to and Hunter's just killing all these roaches, and then good old Stripe's really confused about what's going on.
Well, he's seeing her kill a bunch of people.
He's
very confused at why she's killing these people.
Her kill civilians, and she's seeing her kill roaches.
Yes. And
if you haven't figured it out at this point, the cake is a lie. The cake is a lie.
The note I wrote down was this was very much leaning towards fifth wave, in a sense. Did you ever watch The Fifth Wave or read the book?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, never mind.
I don't know how to help you on this one. I don't know what Fifth Wave is. So,
No.
So after mowing enough people down, she reloads and then has her sights on this woman and child.
Yes.
To which he intervenes and
Yes.
knocks the gun away, and they bashes in their face, and as she falls back, she shoots him in the side.
And yeah, that's pretty much when he's like, okay, he pretty much goes with Katerina?
That sounds right.
Yeah. Katerina and her son, and was like, we're getting out of here. We're leaving.
Yeah, so he helps them go and leave the building into the Humvee to leave. And we get back to Homegirl, Hunter, who wakes up after being kind of bashed in the face. So when she goes up to the window, just barely sees them leaving. And of course, she's going to hunt them down.
Well, yeah, that is her thing. That is her thing throughout the entire episode. Is she's, farm girl. Yep, I'm a hunter.
She's a hunter. She's a hunter. She's a hunter. We've been reminded, she's a hunter.
When she was on the shooting grounds, she's like, "Oh, I hunt deer." Like, or I used to hunt deer. It's like, yeah, we know.
We definitely know.
So, meanwhile, we figure out from Katerina what's really going on.
Well, that's skipping just slightly, but yeah, sure. I mean, he heads out in the Humvee and passes out, and then the girl helps him, since he helped them, into her little secret bunker under the woods, because he had passed out, and he wakes up, and then we get our fancy explanation.
Yes.
To kind of what's going on, even though we kind of already know, but we get a lot more explanation at this point.
Yes, genocide.
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 Which we get even more explanation a little bit further.
Yeah.
But right here, her explanation is like there was screening, there was DNA checks, then the registry, and then everything said we were terrible, that we were roaches, that we were horrible, we had to be killed.
Yes. The regular humans are inferior. And
our blood can't go on.
Yes.
But now you see me. To which we keep getting little flashbacks. Good old Hunter there, who's apparently followed them along their little trail and into the woods from blood splatters and blood droplets, and then found out where they are, to which at this exact point she drops in all Rambo style.
Well, we also find out that civilians, or regular people, so civilians, don't have masks.
No.
The only reason why they're scared of roaches is because people have told them to be scared of roaches.
Exactly.
It's all propaganda.
It's
just like, fear these people, fear the roaches.
They're roaches, they have disease, they're sick, they're bad.
Yes.
Fear them.
So just fear these people.
If our government told us there was a certain type of person that would cause harm and had a disease, we would not have a real reason not to believe them, as bad as that is.
And
if everything you ever saw,
yeah,
from hospitals to the government to everything, said this was bad, these were horrible, they have a disease, it will get to you, it will damn your children, it is terrible.
Leprosy.
Which, you see, I say we would have to believe them. But then you have these people not vaccinating their children that's spreading disease anyway. So they're still the ignorant people. So, anyways.
Yeah. So that's what we pretty much learn. It's all propaganda and prejudice. And then that's when, she goes all Rambo and...
Yeah, she goes all Rambo. When I say Rambo, she just drops down and kills the child, then kills the woman. No issue.
Yep. And then pretty much pays back Stripe.
Yeah. She doesn't really want to listen to him at all. Even he doesn't say much, but doesn't really want to listen to him. And knocks him out. To which we wake up in a cell.
It's always a good place to wake up
almost
at.
like a white padded cell.
It's their version of a prison-ish.
What nicer than and good old Doc, psychiatrist, brings him a coffee. And we get a whole bunch more of an explanation. about what's going on and how things are working. That the fancy little light has been backwards engineered from what's going on, and it acts like a virus and messes with the mass. And tells it
tells us that.
It tells us I have a text message.
Okay, so this is one of the parts that I know for sure kind of glitched out, because I have the waking up in the cell thing, and of course what you just said, but then mine hops straight to him telling him actually what's going on. So I missed something in between there.
I don't know what you mean by what's actually going on, because that would be the next thing I was going to say too.
It was dehumanizing the enemy. That's...
Mm-hmm. Because they would have to kill. Meth helps people kill people.
Yeah.
It disguises them. Well, he goes into a long explanation about World War One.
Oh, well, no, it's World War Two.
He starts with 1. He moves to 2. You said you missed something, and then you go and correct me
well, I'm sorry.
when I'm trying to explain it to you. But yes, he starts with World War One and saying that there was only 15% of people that would shoot, and moves to World War II with something similar, that only a certain amount of people would shoot, and then moves to the Civil War, or no, it's not the Civil. Which war was it? It was another war, or saying that. Which one was it? It was anyway. Through time and through things, we've gotten better and better, but there was always the issue about people going to war, and when people went to war, it would screw people up. Because we don't do well with actually killing other people.
Well, yeah.
So and it pretty much stayed like this until mass. And mass controls your senses. Mass controls everything. Mass controls, you can't hear what they say. They sound like monsters as we hear them through this. They look like monsters. You don't really smell anything, so you don't get to have to smell the blood or the bodies or anything. It makes you into the perfect killing machine. No remorse for these monsters.
Yeah.
These humans they're about as good as a roach.
Completely dehumanized.
As far as they could possibly make them. So our accuracy and everybody wanted to kill went super up. I think as early in the episode, they had said, they had this over in America, maybe, and there's so many, we handled it in 2 years.
Oh, yay.
To which we go into further explanation about that the reason that these people are being targeted, not something as petty as just race or skin color, or if they're Jewish or some stupid non-important trait. No, it's because certain people's DNA is more susceptible to disease and violent behavior, and they've somehow figured out through DNA how to figure out how people will be and how they're susceptible to certain things.
So they did this to protect the bloodline.
Yes. We are now doing what we do with like animals and stuff. Yeah. Only the pure. Let's move this. Well, see, that's a bad bloodline. That's going to be susceptible to cancer. So we don't want that. Get rid of that. Oh, this one's good. This one's more bad towards crimes and whatever. Well, get rid of that one. Only the good blood, that is good people that aren't susceptible to these bad things and these cancers and these diseases, can move forward. We will annihilate apparently everybody else.
That's how you do things, okay?
Now see, in a weird, strange way, it's almost kind of good in a weird way. Because, again, in their methodology, it is taking people, or it's curing illness by getting rid of the problem. Which is really bad to say, but that's what it's doing.
Get out.
It's like, you have a super high chance of getting cancer.
So kill him?
If you get rid of that bloodline, it doesn't go forward. Therefore, you essentially annihilate anybody who has a high chance of getting cancer and every other disease.
Get out.
I'm saying I get what they're doing. I get why they're doing it.
Okay, well,
not saying it's a good thing.
When you get your mass implant, let me know so I can leave.
Not saying it's a good thing. Maybe we should just work on more ways to actually
Let's
cure the disease.
Things, not just kill things.
But it is a way to go about things. Not necessarily saying it's a good thing.
This podcast.
Just saying. I can see where they're coming from. That's all I'm saying.
Anyways, moving back to the story. Arquette pretty much is like, well, we're giving you an option at this point.
Well, first we play the video first.
Okay, yes.
We do the video first. He's like, well, you agreed to all of this. He's like, no, I didn't. I didn't agree to this. To which he plays him a video.
Yes.
To when he signed up 6 months ago, and where they specifically say, hey, this mass implant, we're going to put it in you. And he was definitely some just little thug kid, apparently coming here because probably there was some like, oh, you could be in the military, you can help, or there's good money involved in it. And he just wanted to do it for that. But they're like, this mass implant is like hypnosis. It can change and blah, blah, blah. And you won't remember any of this if you agree. And that's fine, whatever. That sounds cool. And he just goes right along with it. Not thinking where that could lead. So we get the fancy one. Yeah, mass is like hypnosis. You won't know you're being put into this state.
So it is the... Yeah, go ahead.
To which he decides to attack the doc, or go after him. To which he immediately blinds him. It's like, yeah, they have control of you, buddy.
See, I was going to say, you have something in your head that messes with your senses.
And then we get two options.
Yes.
And is there even two options?
No, there's really not. Either you sit miserably in a cell for the rest of your life.
Well, he's like, we either erase everything, or you go to jail and remember everything, where we will run a loop of everything you've did forever. To which we get a snippet of when he went into the house originally. And killed those two roaches. Yeah. And when you take those roaches and you turn those roaches into real people, it's a lot more devastating.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, the fact that he's like, he didn't just shank, he went all horror movie on him. Yeah. Not really something you want to watch over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. So he's like, this can all go away. Just say the word. As he's lying on the floor, traumatized.
For some reason, I wrote down that it reminded me of Nosedive. It's like Nosedive, except worse. Because what was Nosedive the one where... No, that was White Bear.
Okay, well, White Bear makes more sense. Yes, White Bear makes a lot more. Nosedive didn't like...
Yeah. No,
I mean, she ended up in a cell in the end, but I don't really know.
No. I don't know where I wrote it, Nosedive, but yes, White Bear. Except worse.
Yes. Erase, relive. Erase, relive. Erase, relive.
Yeah.
Except this would just be there is no erase. It's just looped.
Yep.
So, we fade to black. Mm-hmm. And we fade back. And he's in a vehicle. In his military uniform. So it's like, well, we know which one he chose.
Oh, yeah.
He's not in jail. To which we pull up to... this super, just really run-down house. To which we go to his view. It's super nice and beautiful. And then the woman of his dreams comes out of the house. I was kind of curious to actually see someone else come out of the house. I wanted to see like a real person and him seeing a real person differently. And we didn't get that at all. The last shot we get is just fading away from him looking at the rundown house. As he, I guess, is imagining this woman come out of the house.
He's going to have a very weird life. A very, very strange life.
I assume he's just like on leave. He's probably going to go back. That's my assumption.
I don't know. I could have sworn when I read the Wikipedia thing, they said something about him being discharged. But
I don't really know. I mean, I have no idea. That wasn't very
it was
descriptive. So, yeah, really interesting episode there. Reality. That's the end of the episode, yeah? That was the end.
I don't know.
It was an episode.
Yeah.
It's a fun little idea and makes it really scary about anything that can control what you see.
Yes, very much so. I had mentioned before we started filming that it's like, it reminds me of Shallow Hal, even though that was just magical whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't an implant of any sort. As I said, I brought up the fifth wave, which you have no inkling about. But what I actually crossed in the Wikipedia is that if you go down to the very bottom, it has see also. And so I clicked on see also, and the first thing that came up was 1998 Outer Limits episode. So I clicked on it. Yes, I clicked on it, and it was from February 6th, 1998. It was called Hearts and Minds. And apparently, it was an episode about these people who were getting a drug injected into them. Or a drug injector of some sort. Either way, they were told to go in and fight these other people who, I can't remember if they were supposed to be aliens or some sort. But either way, they were supposed to be, yes, it was aliens. They were supposed to be fighting these aliens. And so they go in, of course, they're fighting them, and then at some point in time, their drug injector stopped working. And they realize it is just another faction of people.
Mm-hmm. Who probably got the same drugs.
Yes. And so they're like, they realize this and they don't want to fight anymore, but the other people still see them as aliens and kill everybody. So, yeah, it's just...
Yeah. I think you just summed down that 45-minute episode in about 3 seconds. So, yeah.
And it was not my favorite. I probably will forget it.
Yes,
I really.
I had.
Yeah.
I had forgotten it. So, my least favorite episode of this season.
I think for me, the reason why, well, one, it's just, as I said, generic monster things. Two, I've already seen the concept. You really hadn't, but I have. And also, it's just that I've seen it done better, like more surprisingly, like not really see it coming. And
because you hadn't seen it before.
Yeah.
If you hadn't seen it before, if you hadn't seen this before, it might be a little more surprising.
Maybe. I just think everything just went way too quickly, but it's because it's a show. It's a small, short.
It was 1 hour long.
Yeah.
A movie would have been 25 minutes longer. That really broken it up for you?
I guess the only way I can put it is that Black Mirror has done twists better than this. They've set up their twists better than this one.
Well, it doesn't help again if you've seen the concept already well done and then you get something else that's the exact same thing.
But I've seen other concepts in Black Mirror episodes before them, and I still was like, oh wow, I didn't see that coming. I thought it was going to be this twist.
I'm just saying.
I know you're just saying.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Repeating just saying does not help.
It does.
It is not part of the conversation.
It proves me right, though.
I don't... You can take your mass implant and go somewhere else.
Oh.
And on that note...
We had gone over it the next episode of the Twilight Zone. The four of us are dying.
Okay.
I think we read that last time. The man who can change his face to look like other people uses his ability to improve his life regardless of the effects of others.
Ah, okay, yes.
Yes, we definitely read this last time.
I remember that now.
Because we probably read what the next Twilight Zone episode is going to be. So, that sounds interesting because I've not seen it. And then the next episode... If I can get you... Oh, no, we have to go to Season 3 and not Season 4, because that's not helpful. Let me read the last episode of Season 3. One day we'll get to the Bandersnatch. One day. We keep saying that. If we say it long enough, it will eventually have to happen. We really should get to it before it's just like old news.
Well...
Or before the next
figure
proper
out a
season
way
comes
to
out.
do that, let me know.
The next one, the next Black Mirror episode, the last one, is an hour and a half long. It's called Hated in the Nation. The death of a journalist at the center of social media, Firestorm leads a veteran detective and her tech-savvy apprentice to a chilling discovery.
Dun, dun, dun. Do you remember it?
I do.
Okay.
I do. It's better.
That's a good sign.
I enjoyed it more than this episode. But as far as all these go, for me, it would not be very hard to rank this season. Number one, of course, being San Junipero, because I love San Junipero. Then being Nosedive. I thought Nosedive was really good. After rewatching it,
Yeah.
it was a very, very good episode. Followed probably by Playtest. Then maybe Shut Up and Dance in this episode.
I really liked Playtest.
So, ending with this episode. I can't rank the next one until I rewatch it again.
It falls in there.
It would fall probably in mid-range somewhere. Probably before or after Playtest. I don't know which one. I have to rewatch it. So. But that was Men Against Fire. Just an episode.
I'm asleep.
Sleepy sleep.
It's hard to stay awake right now.
So maybe you enjoyed it more. Maybe you didn't see the twist. Maybe you watched this while watching the show, which you done messed up.
We need to just come up with a spoiler label that just pops up at the beginning.
We should. We should literally just even say it. Once we start, we might need to. That remind me to say it. I mean, if you're clicking on the episode and it says it's about an episode, and the episode is 45 minutes to an hour, they're probably spoiling the episode. Because you can't not spoil it in that long. It's impossible. And then even once you get in and we start talking about the very beginning of the episode, that point, you know. You can't really spoil the first 5 minutes of an episode. I'm just saying.
Depends.
It's very difficult.
It could be one of those ones that has the ending first and then goes back and then explains what happens and then ends.
But then it's still not really spoiling. If it's the first thing you see when you see the episode, it's not really a spoiler. Anyways, as always, you can reach me at Stars Untraveled. You can reach Amanda at YawnFest. At KZPup. Reach the show at Beyond Our Focus on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Even very little is going up on Instagram. Gotta revamp that a little bit.
New shows.
There's another one. I only have 3. What am I forgetting?
YouTube.
YouTube's an important thing. And podcast services. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave some comments down below, let us know what you thought.
Disorganized cast.
Yeah, it is what it is. At this point, they're like, oh, they're going into the outro. They've clicked off and moved on.
Yeah.
They moved on.
Bye, guys.
Because I've completely quit doing... You know, at the end of some YouTube channels, they have like other videos you can click on. I quit doing that completely. Why? Because the click-through rate on those was 0%.
Well...
Nobody gets that far. Nobody cares. So I got rid of them.
You see that, guys? You have to watch to the very end.
Well, I think YouTube's going to get rid of them too.
Oh, okay.
Because they have 2 different versions of the editing software.
Mm-hmm.
One is the old one that you can do it. The second one is a newer version of it, but it doesn't have it. So if you want to put them in, you have to go to the old version to put them in. So I kind of feel like YouTube might be getting rid of them. Probably because they feel like they're useless.
Yeah.
Because I think they are.
I rarely do it unless it's like an actual like part series.
Yes, and like, oh, there's the next one. I can just easily click or whatever.
Otherwise, no, I usually don't click them. Half the time when you scroll down, it's like the first couple that show up on the Watch Now ones or Watch like Trend. What is it? It's I don't know. It's it's the similar list, pretty much. Similar videos.
Yes. Other videos you might like.
Yes, that's...
Something along those lines.
Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye. Till next time! Long days and pleasant nights. We go sleepy sleep.